Helen here with Eyes on the Game, and I'm here at Fight Factory. It's always great to be back, and joining me, Malik Scott, fighting for the WBA Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship title November 12th against undefeated Luis Ortiz. How does it feel to fight for the title, and what does that mean to you?
It means the world to me, Helen. Who I'm actually fighting means more to me than the title. Me beating Luis Ortiz means more to me than winning the WBA title for many other reasons of my own. This guy is tough, you know, strong southpaw, got a hell of a pedigree, and that's why I took this challenge on. And November the 12th, I believe I'm going to be victorious, you know, even saying with all of that. I believe this is written already. This is destiny, and the best man will win.
Now, you saying that beating him would be a bigger deal. Do you think it's because, well, with him being undefeated, and I'm sure, like you may have read, that, you know, you may be a slight underdog going into this fight? Like, do you think he's a hype job, or why does it mean more, you know, to beat Luis?
He's definitely not a hype job. The kid, he can fight. Like I said, dangerous southpaw. We got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He got a good pedigree. But I just believe it's my time, and I believe Luis Ortiz is the pawn, and I have to get past him, and I believe I'm going to do it with flying colors. This fighting Luis Ortiz means more to me than any title, because the mystique and the myths and the fear, so-called, that comes with, you know, fighting Luis Ortiz. So, you know, I always give credit to Buster Douglas, because he beat Mike Tyson at a time. It wasn't that he just beat Mike Tyson. He beat Mike Tyson at a time when he was the most feared fighter in the world. That's the type of victories that I'm looking for at this point of my career. I believe I even told you last time we did an interview, I had a hit list. Anthony Joshua, David Haye, and Luis Ortiz. So this is the first person off my hit list, and I can't wait to get him November the 12th.
And I'm glad it, you know, came into fruition, and the timing worked out perfect, because your birthday just passed, so it's kind of like a late birthday present, right?
Oh, yeah, October the 16th, birthday just passed, just turned 36. And 36 is sexy. Like, you know, this is like, you know, a very good age, especially at this time for this fight. And I'm always training. When a call came in, a lot of people thought, like, well, don't you need an 8-9 week camp? Not really, when you're always training. You know, me and Bernie is always in here digging, you know, looking for the loopholes and correcting them and things like that. So the fight couldn't have came at you know, not a better time, so I'm ready.
And what advantages do you think kind of taking a fight on a short notice, but like you mentioned, you and Bernie are always, you know, training, and I do see on your Instagram those videos, but do you think there's more of an advantage taking a fight on short notice?
It depends on who the fighters are. I know in my case, I'm not at a disadvantage, because my foot is always on the gas. I'm never on the brakes. So, you know, calling me short notice is not doing you no justice, if that's what you're thinking, as the fighter and the promoter of, you know, my opposition. You know, that's not doing you no justice, because my foot is always on the gas. I'm always doing something in the gym. Now, once I get the call and the contracts is signed, then my foot go heavier on the gas. That's all. So I go from training at this level to, okay, we got action, and I just pick it up. But I'm able to pick it up like this because I'm already ready. Like, you get what I'm saying? You just can't go from 0 to 100 if you ain't go from 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I'm always at the 85-point mark anyway. Contract signed, me and Byrne pick it up, take it past 100. And that's what we've been doing now.
Like, you're always prepared, so then you don't need to get prepared. Right,
I'm always ready to get ready, always.
And what about going to Monte Carlo for the fight?
It's how do I feel? A ring is there. Me and Luis Ortiz is fighting, and it just so happened to be in Monte Carlo. I just can't wait to win and come back home. I'm not really impressed, or I don't have nothing good or bad to say about where the fight is at. I'm just happy that the fight is happening. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm more impressed with. That's what I'm really focused on.
Yeah, like what we discussed a couple months ago as well. But I do know that you have mentioned before, you know, Luis does have some loopholes, even though a lot of people are kind of focusing on his 3-inch reach advantage over you and a few other, you know, factors like he's a southpaw and whatnot. But I'm curious to know, like, what loopholes do you see in his game?
The loopholes I see in his game is the ones that I will expose November the 12th. I'm sure. See, when you have the aura around you that Luis Ortiz had, because if you look at him fight, he's very arrogant in the ring. Good guy. I'm not saying he's a bad person. And it takes arrogance in the ring to be at this level. He come forward. He stomp hard. He really has this King Kong thing. But I look at it like that's going to play directly into my hand because I'm setting traps. You know what I mean? I know exactly what I want to do when I'm in there. I know exactly how I want to move. So he's going to bring all that energy and all that arrogance. And it's just, I believe it's going to work more on my benefit than into his.
So have you had to change up a lot of things in this camp in particular as opposed to the other ones for your other opponents?
We had to bring in southpaw sparring. So I had a couple guys come down. Got a couple more guys coming down this week, and we're going to wrap up, I believe, next week and head out to Monte Carlo, I believe. And I'm ready. I'm ready. Like, you know, I try my best. Like I said before, I'm not really good at letting the situation be bigger than I am and my meaning and my purpose. You know, Luis Ortiz is a good fighter, damn good fighter. We fighting in Monte Carlo. But I believe November the 12th is my night. And it's just as simple as that. Like, you know what I mean? And anything that comes with that, a belt, TV, this, that, and the third, that's perfectly fine. I take all the bonuses. But my whole point and my objective into this whole thing is to beat the so-called boogeyman.
Like everything else is just icing on your birthday cake.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like we keep, referencing our interview just a couple months ago, and you mentioned even earlier about your quote-unquote hit list. You know, if you do beat Luis and you win the title, I mean, what's next? Like, do you still want that fight with Anthony Joshua?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, them the only fights I really want. I'm not really interested in fighting nobody but the people that I'm fighting now, and that's a blessing because there are other calls that I've received that it just wasn't, the calls didn't get me aroused. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't able to really get up for them for the type of work me and Bernie have been putting in. But when I get threatening calls, I'm going to get up for those kind of things. And this is considered a threatening call. Ortiz, the Joshuas, the David Hayes, the Deontay Wilders, the Vladimir Klitschko's. Because you got the champions, the elite guys, the contenders, the fighters, the young lions that's climbing up. I'm at the point in my career that I'm not concerned with nobody besides the champions and the elite guys. That's it. I have no time to be, dibbing and dabbing, and I don't want to argue for weeks with negotiations over money. Let's just fight, please, because I'm chasing history. Let's just please fucking fight.
Now, would you fight Anthony for the $30 that we talked about last time, or now things have changed, right?
After I beat Luis Ortiz, I think we're going to have to bring it up to $100.
Sounds good.
But after Ortiz, God willing, I will have a shot at Anthony Joshua, and then Joshua. Then if David Haye is around, then him. Like, you know what I mean? But in my personal opinion, like, you see how I have my agenda and my hit list. Like, David Haye has his thing that he's trying to do. If you notice, he said he's going to fight Shannon Briggs. He's going around that now, I believe, to do other big things he's thinking. Joshua is, mapping out his thing, how he wants to do and things like that. We all have our agendas, but the whole thing is to get it done. And what I'm trying to get done is to beat top elite legitimate heavyweight champions at this stage in my career. So right now, everybody I'm calling out is, considered, top 3 dangerous in the world. Like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm sure David Haye someday, with the history he's made already, is going to go into the Hall of Fame. Like, he's champion, heavyweight, cruiserweight, 3 belts. Like, you know what I mean? So those are kind of, I'm after their market. Like, you know what I mean? So these are the guys I want to fight. So we'll see what happens.
You mentioned you are 36 years old now. Do you think that you're still in your prime, or have you not reached your peak yet for you personally? I just believe it's all in God's hand. I hate to sound so cliche and that be so corny sounding, but that's how I really feel. I believe that my age, my time, my destiny is all written, and everything else behind this is in God's hand. Like, I'm just going. I'm just rolling with Rush, Helen. Like, whichever way he leads me every morning that I wake up, I just go that way. Sometimes I wake up and my body says, do not move.
I mean, I can't work out. And sometimes my body say, do not stop. I keep pushing forward. So I'm just moving in the spirit. Like, you know what I mean? 24/7, I'm moving in the spirit of God.
But how has your life changed in general since an angel, you reference, Coach Bernie is your angel. Can you kind of talk about the impact that he has not only in your boxing career, but also your life?
Boxing is the minutest thing between me and Bernie relationship. It's something that brought us together, but it's this small compared to everything else we have in common. Boxing is like, my kids and his kids is going to be playing with each other when we're 60, 70 years old. He's the type of friend that is like, he's like family, not a relative. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of my best friends. And we just got crazy chemistry with everything we do together. The boxing, the life talks, he understands my degenerate side. So, like, I get to vent to him and get my things off. Like, he's my brother. Like, I don't look at him nothing less than that, than, my brother. Somebody I can go to for advice. He comes to me with advice. And we never, this is not a thing of tension. Like, we handle our tension with a look. We handle our tension with, no, that's, we're going to do that. Yeah, and, we push forward. We all about just progressing every day, not just as a fighter and coach, but as people. Like I said before, boxing is minute compared to the love and respect I have for Bernie. So we're going to keep striving together.